Hello everyone and welcome to the opposition preview with Dazzling Dave. We've got Dazzling Dave with us today. How you doing?
I'm good, mate. I'm good. The sun's shining. Got back late about 2 a.m. on Thursday night on that heartbreak for us against Arsenal. So then work and then sort of like just about recovered now. Looking forward to coming down to West Ham at the on Sunday. Let's hope it's a nice day as well.
Right, well, let's talk about your season first of all. Give us a summary of how you think the Wolves season's gone.
It's been a very interesting season because, of course, Wolves changed managers. They sacked Nuno, brought in Bruno Lage, who mainly worked with a lot of youth teams. Of course, he did have that stint at Benfica. He got the opportunity because the manager was kicked out and Benfica were fourth. And he did brilliant with Benfica. He went on a 18 game unbeaten run to the end of the season, winning 17, drawing 1, and took him to the title. He brought through the likes of Joe Felix. And then halfway through the second season, they sold a lot of the players from under him and he left. And he was out of work for a while. And obviously, when Nuno left, it was quite an emotional time for what he'd done with Wolves. Brought in Bruno. And he's done great, to be honest. I mean, the football we played in the first 3 games was insane. We battered Man United, we battered Leicester, we battered Tottenham. We didn't score any goals and we didn't get any points. And then we beat Watford away, and then we lost at home to Brentford. So he sort of then became a little bit more conservative, less free-flowing, and we've built from there throughout the season. In fact, Wolves' record after the first 3 games of the season, it's not far off 2 points a game, which is why we've got into the position where we're at. Whereas West Ham got off to an absolute flyer, didn't you, really? And you've been there or thereabouts all season.
Yeah. Are you happy with what you're seeing from Bruno Lage, though? I mean, it must be like pinch yourself stuff, because here we are coming up to the final third of the season in the Premier League. You're in with a shout of European football as well. And when I say in with a shout, it's not just a mathematical shout. It's you look at how Wolves are playing, you look at your players that are in form, even the players that are out of form that could come back into it, make it even better. As a neutral, I'm sitting here and there's a lot to admire about your club at the minute.
Well, yeah. I mean, to be fair, I think, Wolves are in the strongest position that we've been all season because we've had injuries to 4 or 5 players have been out long-term injury. Obviously, Raul's came back from that long-term head injury. He's not quite hit the heights of before. He's a little bit off the pace, perhaps, out of all of the players. But you've got to bear in mind he could never have come back at all. But he's still capable, like he did at Tottenham, of chipping in with a goal out of absolutely nowhere. The big plus for us is that we've got the likes of Johnny Otto back fit and Wang back fit, and of course Pedro Neto back fit. So for the first time, I'm not sure on what's happening with Semedo because he pulled up in the Arsenal game and was replaced. But we do have 2 players, 3 players that can play on the left side of our wing backs. But aside from that, we've got a very strong squad, and at this stage of the season, to have pretty much all your players fit, even though we haven't got the biggest squad, is a real bonus in the running.
What players have impressed you the most for Wolves this season? Give us a couple of names.
Well, the keeper, Jose Sarr, because obviously we sold Patricio to Roma to Mourinho, and Jose Sarr's come in and he's ended up being an upgrade. He is, up until the weekend, don't know what the stats are now, he had the best shots stopping ratio in the whole of Europe. He's a character. He's been brilliant. His distribution's good. He's always trying to create an attack. He's good on the ball. And so he's been brilliant. 6.5 million, I think we paid for him, and he's going to be the next Portuguese number 1 for definite. Max Kilman, who is basically is half English, half Ukrainian, actually. So I think his parents are Ukrainian. So obviously it's a bit of a distressing time for things. I think, so that's obviously how that affects him, but he's got people talking to him. But he wasn't really getting much of a game time. I don't know if you know this. He played futsal for England. He came from Maidenhead.
I didn't know that. I know a bit about
Yeah.
him. We did our preview yesterday, and I said to Gonzo, funny enough, Jose Sam Kilman were 2 of the 3 players I like from Wolves at the minute. And I said about Kilman, I said I think he deserves being the next England setup and stuff, but how good he
100%.
was. But I didn't know his
He played.
backstory
Yeah,
like that.
he used to be on Sky. They used to come. We used to play futsal bingo. How long was it going to take them until they mentioned he played futsal for England? And then he's come. I think we got him from Maidenhead or something. He's 24. He's got everything. He wasn't getting a game under Nuno. Bruno's brought him in, and he's been imperious. Sometimes I feel like he can play on his own at the back. He's strong. He's tall, but he's got brilliant awareness. He reacts really well, and you'll see probably at the weekend he does make these runs from defence, taking on about 3 or 4 players, and he hardly ever loses the ball. He's been brilliant. Obviously, you've got the likes of Neves in midfield. If he's on it and you let him dictate the play, we'll win every game. And then Daniel Pedence, he's definitely my dad's favourite. He calls him Bonanza. He's like tiny. He's like, you put him against Max Kilman and like this, he's so small. He's like Wolves' version of Eden Hazard, and he's very, very tricky, and he can create something different. So those would be the ones that have stood out for me. If I was going to pick my player of the year this year, they would be the ones that are in contention, I would say, so far.
Big question, put you on the spot. Are you going to get European football at the minute? 1st to 4th is Champions League, 5th Europa League, 6th is Europa Conference League. Are Wolves going to get European football?
Not going down to 7th?
Not yet. It depends on the FA Cup winner.
On the FA Cup thing, yeah, of course it does. Absolutely. So, yes, we're going to get European football because you've got to believe. You've got to believe. If you can't, as a fan, believe you're going to do it, what's the point? You go into every game, don't you, believing you're going to win? I thought we were going to beat Arsenal on Thursday night. Arsenal, to be fair, were the better team. If you'd have said if it wasn't for the 95th minute winner and they'd have scored 2 and we'd have lost 2-1 on the balance of play, but the way we lost was football does that to you, don't you? You'll have games like that where you have the pain, and then you'll have games where you'll score a last minute win and you've got the joy, just like when we played Villa earlier in the season. We were 2-0 down in the 81st minute and won 3-2. I mean, you get days like that, and then so it was heartbreaking, but proud of the boys. But yeah, we're gonna. I feel quite positive that we will get European football next year.
Right, you've done your team. Let's talk about my team then. What's your thoughts on West Ham? As a neutral, what are you thinking?
I think West Ham have had a fantastic year. I think the Moyes is doing incredible. I know when he came back in initially, he's definitely won the fans over. Obviously, West Ham have had all the issues with the ownership and all of that, and that the fans, the owners, the managers, the players, everyone seemed to be at some point pulling in opposite directions. I see a West Ham team now as a club. Pretty much everyone seems to be pulling in the same direction. They seem to have a good team spirit. You've got some great young players and experience within the team. You've had a lot of consistency. Obviously, you've got the European football as well, which does put an extra strain on the squad in terms of Premier League position. Maybe that's affected some of the Premier League results of late, because to be honest, West Ham have been talked about all season by the media. They've been a bit of the darlings this year, West Ham, in terms of can they make that Champions League place? Going to do Wolves have been a footnote in all of the discussions. We've been a bit under the radar, and we've quite liked being under the radar. And but we started to be mentioned. I think had we beaten Arsenal on Thursday, we'd have been in a really strong position. And as I said, as I came out the game on my match vlog, I was kind of like, probably the Champions League. It was a long shot anyway. It's probably not going to happen, but I feel confident that, as I say, if you reach for the stars and you get the moon, you still achieved. And if Wolves finish this season in Bruno Lage's first season in the top 7 or 8, or definitely going to finish in the top 8, but finish top 7, that's a really good season for his first season. Having lost the first 3 games of the season and only won 1 out of the first 5, that would be incredible. But my gut feeling is we're going to finish about 6.
West Ham players, you said we've got some youngsters and experienced players. Is there any players that stand out for you when you look at the West Ham team?
Well, obviously, you look at the likes of Declan Rice. I mean, he's absolutely he's been brilliant, hasn't he, this year? So, he's done really, really well for you.
Would you swap him for Ruben Neves? Would you swap him? You had to pick one.
Would I love Declan Rice in our team? The answer is yes. Would I swap him for Ruben Neves? The answer is no, I wouldn't. I mean, Ruben Neves is a wolf. He's just part of the club. We love him. So, no, I don't think so. I mean, Thomas Soucek's done really well for you as well, hasn't he, this season?
He's had a quiet season. He was fantastic last season. This season, he's gone off the boil a little bit, unfortunately.
Antonio always worries me as well.
Does he? I mean, I remember when you beat us in the game at your place, Neves just ran the game. We could have got new Neves on that afternoon. I remember just watching him thinking, can someone just please stop Neves getting the ball? And you were...
Well, that's the thing. That's the thing. If you give Neves time and space, we control the game so well. I think it was difficult for us against Arsenal, because sometimes a lot of the away games, like when we beat Tottenham and we beat Man United, and we literally, I don't know if you watched that game against United, but we absolutely dominated them start to finish, and we won 1-0. But we played 3-5-3 that day, so we had 3 in midfield. Against Arsenal, he played 3-4-3, so we only had him and Matinho, and I think we've struggled to get a grip of the game. So
I think you scored too early.
There's always
you tend to score and then sit back, though, don't you, Wolves? I think this is how I interpret it. Tell me if I'm wrong. I always thought Nuno would sit back at the start, soak up the pressure, and in the second half try and make the subs and go for the win. Whereas I think
that's bang on.
With Bruno, it's the other way around. You should get out fast, you get the goal, then you sit back and soak the pressure up because you've got the players to attack.
Actually,
no. Think so. That's how I
mean, Wolves still had this record of, until not long ago, not scoring very often in the first half. Since the turn of the year, we've been a lot more on the front foot. I mean, on my podcast that I do, the Always Wolves podcast, Paul, who's a regular on there, is always saying we do not start fast. We're slow starters. But the game against when we have started well, like against Man United and Tottenham, those games we have. But the games in between, we've been quite slow starters. Against Arsenal, they were on the front foot, but we caught him on the break twice early doors, and I mean it was a mistake we scored offside, and then obviously Wangi Chan scored back pass, and then we don't lose. I think it's the first time since 2018 we've actually not taken something from a game after scoring, taking the lead and scoring first. It's 2018. We're in 2022. And it was a 95th minute goal, and you could see how much it meant to Arsenal. To be honest, I went to the Emirates, and a lot of the time I've gone to the Emirates, but they were loud, they were good, the fans were really on it, and I'll be interesting to hear how it's going to be at West Ham this weekend, because when I went the last time, I was a bit disappointed, and I don't think it's the fans' fault. I think it's just because you're so far away from the pitch. I mean, whether that's changed or not. You tell me, what is the atmosphere currently like down at West Ham?
I think this season is a funny one, actually. I haven't been to loads of home games, but this season, I think that they've had some of the best atmospheres since we've been there, but they've also had some of the worst the last 4 or 5 games. I've got friends who go every home game. I'm going tomorrow, and I said to them about we're meeting up and stuff. They said, I don't know if I'm going. The atmosphere's been that bad the last 4 or 5 games. I'm not that keen on it.
Is it the stadium? Is it the stadium?
I think
you've got what 60,000 plus in there.
Yeah, I think it's a stadium, but I also think it's too much fans. To be honest with you, I think it's hard to get a good atmosphere going in that place because sometimes we sit up at the bottom move end. We're not too far from their way end, so the way end sort of to the left of the post. We're to the right of the post. Down the other end is the Bobby Moore stand, so they'll sing and we'll sing, but we're like two
So
lines out
far
of
away
sync
from
with
each
the
other, it
same.
doesn't
Yeah,
sing.
so the songs are different. They're not in sync together, so we're all singing different things and stuff. And I just don't think it works. Really, I think it's so it is partly the stadium, but I also think I almost think there's too much fans that go for West Ham now. It's difficult to get the atmosphere going. I think sometimes it's better to have a smaller ground because I think you get a
A
bigger
tighter
atmosphere.
ground. A
Yeah,
tighter ground. The
I
Tottenham
think
Stadium's quite tight for a big ground, to be fair. I don't know if you, I mean, they're obviously purpose built, and they like to drop in whether they're the only team that's got an NFL pitch underneath it. It's like, okay, type of thing. But yeah, we've got an NFL pitch type of thing. But a question I want to ask you, Antonio, because he always worries me, because in the past, when he, apart from the game earlier on in the season, he's always seemed to bully. I always worried about like the likes of Cody playing against the likes of Mitrovic and Antonio and all those type of players. But we seem to control him very well in the first game, and I've been impressed with Connor Cody. Seems to be having a brilliant season, but he's one that always worries me because he's so strong. He holds the ball up. His link-up play is good. He's good in the air. He's got a shot on him. Is he on song at the moment for you?
no, not at all.
That's good news.
There's two.
That's good news.
Yeah, he's. I don't know the exact stats. It's something like 4 goals in 20 games or something. That's not good. 1 in 5 is not good for your striker. But it's I think you can get away with that if his performances are okay, because we rely on Antonio a lot. Our formation is set up to get the best out of Antonio, but we need to get the best out of Antonio. Yeah,
he links everything
but
up.
but he's just struggling at the minute. He's just out of form. I think he's just tired. He's getting on a little bit. He's not spring chicken anymore. But because he's our only striker, he never gets subbed, never gets a rest. He plays 90 minutes every single game, regardless of how well he plays or how poorly he plays. And when we played Leeds, we had an FA Cup game against Leeds, a league game against Norwich, and a league game against Leeds in 1 week. And the second game against Leeds, so the third game in 8 days for him, Moyes said, "Oh, Antonio was knackered. We needed to take him off. But what could I do?" He just left him on for 90 minutes. The manager's saying he's tired. I have to take him off.
Have a backup for him.
No, got nothing. He told us in January our backup is Jared Bowen, who is the most informed player in the Premier League, playing on the right. So you can't really put him up front because then you're missing the most informed Premier League player in his best position. So
yeah,
it's not good, to be honest with you.
But he's Anthony Bowen.
Yeah, he's been immense, Dave. Honestly, he's been unbelievable. Kilman should be an England team. That's our Jared Bowen. Jared Bowen should be in the England team as well.
Well, to be honest, let's hope that Southgate does give them the opportunity, because he's always said if there are players in form, then he's going to pick them. And I don't see how he can't. He shouldn't be picking Bowen and both Kilman and getting them into the squad and having a close look at them. They've earned it, haven't they?
Yeah. But anyway, let's quickly turn our attentions back to tomorrow's game, Dave. How do you see it going?
Well, how do I see it going? Wolves have got a great record in London up until like Thursday night, but even then we played really, really well. I think West Ham are not in the most fluent of forms at the moment. And I don't know if you know this, I've got a stat for you here. This is the 50th top flight meeting between the clubs. Wolves having won 20, West Ham having won 18. There you go. There's a good one for you to pop in somewhere down the line on the match day or something like that. But it's the 50th meeting between the clubs. I think it's going to be tough. I think it's going to be a tough game. But if I'm going to stick my neck out, I'm going to go with my heart. And I think Wolves might nick it 1-0. But I think it's going to be very, very difficult. I think if we get the lead, it's going to be difficult for West Ham. If you get the lead, it's going to be difficult for us because we do sometimes struggle to break teams down once we're behind, but other teams do struggle to break us down. In the end, it took a bit of magic from Arsenal on Thursday night and a bit of luck at the end, because if you saw the second goal, it was going wide. It hit the inside of Jose Sarzan and went into the back of the net. So I'm hoping, as a Wolves fan, we win the game 1-0, but always love going down because the West Ham fans are brilliant. They're always brilliant with us, and they're a bit like Wolves in a lot of ways. You've suffered a lot over the years, you know what I mean? And when you get a bit of success, you really appreciate it. So, hopefully it's going to be a good atmosphere, be a great game. And I'm hoping Wolves can nick it 1-0 because that would really put us in a really strong position to qualify for Europe.
Well,
We've got
Dave,
a game
thank you.
here as well, haven't we?
Yeah, you do. You've got a game in hand on us. So if you beat us, you go above us with a game remaining in hand as well. So, well, it'll be a massive boost for your European hopes. I think it's a bit of a blow for ours, actually. I think we'd suddenly be looking a little bit sketchy with the whole European thing.
You'll have to go in the Europa League, like or the Conference League, whatever.
Well,
what
actually,
have you got Sevilla in the next round?
Yeah, we've got Sevilla in the next round.
That's tough, that is.
Yeah, I speaking of stats, I seen yesterday after we got drawn against Sevilla that Sevilla won 27 of the last 28 Europa League games. I was like, oh, brilliant.
They've won the Europa League something like 5 times or something. They're masters at winning it. In fact, they knocked us out in the quarter-final. Raul Jimenez had a penalty to go 1-0 up, and he don't miss much. He missed the penalty. And they were way the better side on us, but they literally beat us 1-0 with a goal with 5 minutes to go. We were hoping to get to extra time, but they were so much better than us on the night.
Yeah.
What are you thinking for the weekend?
1-0 Wolves.
You think that as well?
Yeah. I think I'm a big admirer.
Is that your head or that's not your heart, is it?
My head. I always go with my head when you're doing these things. I want to be right. It's my honest opinion. And, when you do YouTube and stuff, you've always got to give your honest opinion. And I'm admiring what Bruno Lage has done. I'm admiring the way you set up. And I actually think getting beat by Arsenal, while it might be a little bit of a blow to your confidence, listening to your manager after the game, I didn't get the impression of that. I got the impression of he's proud of the players. They were unlucky. Even when he got asked about Arsenal celebration, he said, good, that's how you should celebrate. It's football, celebrate like that. Yeah. I just thought there's a man who hasn't flinched at all. He's just been beaten in the last minute, hasn't flinched. And I've seen some people say it might be a good thing for West Ham, a bit of a knock to your confidence. I actually think it's a bad thing for West Ham because I think if you go a goal up, he won't make the same mistake again, which is sit that deep and give you that much possession. I think, if anything, he might make the subs a little bit earlier, get Dendoncker onto midfield, Coutinho, Neves.
We had a couple of chances to score the second just after they equalised 1-1. Aït-Nouri got round the side. Pedro Neto I think it got deflected just wide. Did you play midweek?
No,
you didn't. You see, that's the thing that worries me is that you've had a week and we've played Thursday with a small squad. Is how 100% on it in terms because we played Thursday night. How we've recovered for the game on Sunday, and you've obviously had a whole week.
Yeah, we should have had that advantage last weekend. We played Leicester 2 weeks ago. Sorry, we played Leicester. They played midweek, and we had a week off. You couldn't tell. You could not tell. We didn't take advantage of it. But you have a small squad. We have the same 11 every week. It doesn't matter. We've changed 1 or 2 players, and that's it. So we've had that European campaign. Yes, we haven't played in Europe for a while, but it does catch up with you a little bit. Antonio looks knackered at the minute. Souček's knackered. Soufal's out for a few weeks.
You've got the issue with Zuma as well, haven't you?
It's not so much of an issue for West Ham anymore. I think non-West Ham fans and pundits and that make more about it than West Ham fans. I think West Ham fans now have accepted it to some extent. It's still wrong and stuff, but they've accepted it's happened. He's in the team. He's played a couple of games since. He's been brilliant in those games as well.
He'll be in the team for the weekend then.
He'll be in the team for the weekend.
Yeah.
He'll be in the team for the weekend.
He's a key player for you guys.
Yeah. But anyway, we'll leave it there, David. I just want to say a massive thank you for joining me. Much appreciated. You guys at home, you want to see and hear more from Dave, the link to his channel is in the description of this video. If you've enjoyed this chit chat that we've had, drop a like on it, subscribe if you're new to the channel. And Dave, thank you once again.
Absolute pleasure to be making my official debut on your channel, and hopefully you'll be able to join us as well on the reaction show Extra Time on Monday evening.
Of course, we'll see you there. So if you want to see me on Dave's channel on Monday night, I'll be over there, and the link is in the description below. We'll catch you in a bit.